I guess the first thing to talk about with this song is the piano. It started out with the piano, it started out with the piano sample. So this is the sample. I recorded this on my phone and I recorded it on a piano that is in a university cafeteria. So you can even hear like people walking in the background. It's very, very lo-fi. So basically, I did this song back in 2018 called Listen to the Pop Songs. It's still up on YouTube, but I'm not really happy with how it sounds. But something really cool about it was the chords. I used this overhand technique, which was inspired by Tony Banks, who used it on many Genesis songs, most notably No Reply at All. But this one, I wanted to do something different. Basically, all the chords are in the key of C sharp major, but it doesn't resolve to C sharp major until the final bar in the cycle, in which both hands are playing C sharp major. So in the loop that plays during the verses, the right hand doesn't change at all. The right hand is constantly playing C sharp major. However, the left hand is alternating from F sharp major to A flat major. In the chorus, the right hand alternates from E flat minor to C sharp major, and the left hand goes from F sharp major to C sharp major. So you have all these dissonant chords that are floating over the top of each other, and then it's only at the end of the chorus that all the chords kind of come together finally. So the next thing to talk about, I guess, would be the drums. So you must understand, I started recording this song before the first lockdown happened, so I planned for there to be bass, guitars, and drums, and have this to be like a full-on rock song. So I started out making a MIDI drum loop, but then as I was making the song, I realized, I'm probably not going to be able to record actual drums anytime soon. So I added an EQ filter on the drums, and then I layered it with more samples, so it sounded like a full dance beat. So you end up getting this really kind of indie pop synthwave kind of drum beat going on. Now, the only thing I did have during lockdown was my electric guitar and my keyboard, but only a guitar amplifier to play them through. So what I ended up doing was I stuck my live microphone up to the amplifier and just played a bunch of guitars and synths, which is why not only do they sound like live recordings rather than studio recordings, but they sound really kind of distorted and crackly. So here you can hear all the ambient synth tracks put together, plus some synth strings I put on the top to emphasize certain parts of the song. But my favorite part of the whole song has to be the lead synth. Lead synth is very much inspired by Heroes. They had this kind of brass synth sample going on.
So if you can go up to the part where the brass comes in, Aaron. This is David. This is a brass track.
And I just loved the rhythm of it, and I loved the sound of it, so I was just playing around on my keyboard trying to come up with a sound that sounded similar, and I kind of came up with a sound it sounded more like a clav or something like that, but because of the guitar amp, it sounded way more distorted, so it actually kind of does sound like a guitar or a synthy guitar or a keytar or something like that. And I'm just playing the same rhythm that was in Heroes, that dun 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 dun. And then over here you can hear all my guitars together. I recorded a guitar lead, and then I recorded 3 ambient guitar tracks that I just kind of played at the same time in the background. Then once I had all the guitars and the synths and the drums and the piano together, I decided to put in a synth bass. And I decided, because with this song I'm going with my personal favorite sounds, I decided I would put a flanger on whatever stock bass synth I decided to use. Which is why, even if you can't hear the bass fully through the mix, you can hear this kind of flanged effect throughout it. And that's the instrumental of the song done. Now, when it comes to the vocals, there was a lot of layering and a lot of effects that went into it. The whole point of the song is someone who is completely alone, has nobody to talk to. So when I initially had the idea of putting a guitar solo in it, I decided, no, this man's completely alone. He's completely by himself. So wouldn't it make sense for the solo to be a cappella? So the solo itself is actually not a guitar solo, it's a vocal solo. I'm just ad-libbing and scatting, and then I put auto-tune on it, and then I put a heavy guitar distortion on it as if it was an electric guitar solo. To emphasize the kind of emotional power of it, I thought I'd have the verses really reserved and have all the anger and all the sadness and all the hatred kind of come out in the chorus. So the chorus is layered, there's a ton of delay on it, and there's harmonies, as you can hear.
Oh, how I hate to be alone. Somebody pull me off my feet and get set go. I am one.
And then with the verses, it's more minimal, and I've put an EQ filter over it to sound like I'm talking over the phone, because it's lockdown. I can't go see you. The only way I have to talk to you is through the phone.
I'm one, and one is me. I walk around, but I'm not free.
And then just to kind of fill the emptiness and make all the vocals not feel as empty, I recorded a second take of the whole song, put auto-tune on it, and then I turned it way down, so the song doesn't sound like it's double-tracked, but the vocals has a layer of thickness to it, that it doesn't seem so bare.
Oh, I hate to be alone.
And when it came to the kind of final stages of the song, 2 major things changed. One was the hi-hats. Initially, I liked the idea of hi-hats panning left and right, but I decided it was a bit too chaotic for the song, and it actually kind of sounded a bit annoying. I basically flipped the right hi-hat, so it sounds more like a traditional hi-hat that's coming through near the left side. And then the other major change was the third verse, because initially it just had a structure of verse, chorus, but I felt it was a bit repetitive and redundant. And even though that was kind of the point to start off with, you know, that this is a lonely man, every day's the same, it did make the song feel less special. And as this is the intro of the album, I wanted to have impact. So what I did is I swapped out the third verse for this new middle eight. The lyrics stayed the same, but I sung them differently, and I cut out all the instruments so that it would come in for the final chorus, which would give that final chorus an extra push. And to add to that extra push, I just put a gong in there just for good measure.
I cannot function no more. I love but can't see the humanity in me, all the humanity.
And yeah, that's how I made I Am One. I then had a great music video shot by my good friends Martine and Emily. And in the corner of the screen at the end, you should be able to click to watch the full video. Don't forget to subscribe, and always remember, frogs rock!